New project. Yeah. I love starting them. I love finishing them. And most of all of the insides I love. But there's just nothing better than pulling out another project to start on. Love it. Anyway, this is end of March, beginning of April. So I'm kind of thinking Mother's Day. So this is going to be slightly feminine. Well, not a lot more than slightly feminine. This is from Ultimate Crafts, which is a UK company. And I got this paper pack, I'd say about 6 months ago. So I think it should still be available. It's a 2015 pattern, but I think you should still be able to get it. If not, you can find something that you love that's in your stash. And you might even have this. But please, you will be able to make this album that I'm going to make. This is what I'm going to make as an album. Put pictures in. But you will be able to make with any paper pack. So don't go out and buy this one unless you just really, really have to. Use what's in your stash. I'm also here. Well, let me flip through this just really quickly so you can see. These papers are absolutely beautiful. This is very delicate. Lots of just gorgeous prints. You get 2 sets of each double-sided sheet. And there's a nice diamond. And then that sheet. Now, I had one sheet, kind of funny. I bought this several years ago. I was looking through the book. I said, I've seen that before. When I have all my 12 by 12 paper, I have them by company. So I was able to go to my use and find this immediately. So I do have one sheet I just randomly bought years ago. And then this is just a nice blue with a fleur de lis, or whatever you call it. Fleur de lis. I think that's it. But everything's kind of got just a hand-drawn quality to it, which is really nice. There's musical notes on this. Here's just a nice soft pink. So it's kind of not really my wheelhouse, but at the same time, I'm digging it. So I'm excited to get started. This is just, letters. And then on the other side, there's little like flashcards with letters and numbers. And then you have 2 sheets of the cut-aparts, which are... I wish for you a perfect day in every way. A smile is a memory made visible. The greatest blessing is the love of a family. I love the little things you do, and may the memories of today fill your heart with pleasure. So it's very uplifting. There's another one of those diamond. And then here is the second page that you get with some more cut-aparts. And show you the back of that one. Beautiful. Very busy, but I like it. I'll stick that in there. And then 2 more sheets that you get. I've already pulled out of the book, but this was in the first section, because then it starts all over again and you get exactly the same sheets as I'm showing you. So this is another one that I've pulled out, which is just really, really, really delicate and pretty. And I love this side too. It's very rich, very, I don't know, it almost gives you an English feel. I don't know, some kind of garden feel or something like that. And that's a beautiful green. It's very, very modeled throughout. And then there's beautiful handwriting and stuff on it. It's just in case you can't see that. But anyway, so there's that. And then to augment this, because just in case, I don't know how big I'm going to make this yet, and all of that. This is Hackney and Company, and this woman, Katie, I do not know her. I just read a little blurb on the back, right here, wrong hand. she hand illustrates these. She also makes like wallpaper and stuff like that. But she started doing these papers, and it's 200 GSMs for those of you that know what that means. We usually do, like 85-pound cardstock, or I would say this is probably a good 85-pound cardstock. But then there's also pearlescent papers in here, and then these are almost feel like a material. They're textured and very soft, but beautiful prints. And there's like 5 of each. 40 double-sided sheets, and I think you get 5 of each. Now this is the pearlescent paper, so you've got the blue on the one side, and then it's white backed on the other. And then there's mushrooms in there, and these are little cute little mouses, meese mouses. There's some ferns with snails on them. Now, not all of these do I think will go with my allergies. I'm sorry, guys. With this Magnolia Lane, more than likely the things that don't have animals on them, like all these little rabbits, I probably won't use. But I just think that this garden type, this is beautiful with the flowers, and there's butterflies. I don't have a problem with butterflies. Then we've got birds and nests and leaves and feathers. This is a really pretty little, I don't know what the flower is, but it's a light purpley lilac color. This one I'm not all that wild about, but that's okay. And then this is another one of those really nice soft sheets. These are like the 80-pound maybe. It's more than 65. It's definitely more than 65. So I'd say it's like 85-pound cardstock. And this one, I know I'm going to love this one on there. I am so sorry. And the more I talk, the worse it gets. And then these are bumblebees. But anyway, and the strawberries have, on all of the strawberries, there is a shininess to it. So that's kind of neat. And then this is really a very sweet print. And I think that's it. Yep, that's it. So that's just to augment the Magnolia Lane. You're going to need a couple of sheets of chipboard. And I am using 2 colors of 8.5 by 11 cardstock because I do not have a store to run to. Live out in the boondocks, but I love it. But I like to have about 50 sheets to start off a project so that I don't have to do what I did with the last project, is, scrimp and save and scrimp and cut little pieces. And I mean, I don't like to waste my paper, but I don't want to have to not have what I want to build what I want. So I've got kind of a gray, and then this is a green with a gray tone in it. And it looks great with all the papers. A few of them don't look good with this, but all of them look good with the gray. Gray is a wonderful color. It's probably one of my favorite colors to wear as well. I was noticing the other day that I have a closet full of gray. Okay. I have decided that I want to be able to utilize an entire 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper to make my pages. So I want to have the book larger than 8.5. So from top to bottom, it's going to be 8 3/4 is your chipboard. But we'll go over all of this. But so it's going to be 8 3/4 by 7. Because I love to get 4x6 pictures. To me, if you have to cut the picture, people are not going to enjoy doing it as much as just being able to pop that picture out and stick it right where you want to stick it. Bam, you're done. okay? That is me and my best friend Laurel. Sorry, Laurel, if I showed your picture. She'll probably be mad at me. But she's a sweetie. She'll get over it. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to use this 8.5 by 11. Now, one thing I need to tell you is that this Magnolia Lane, this is actually, it's on the paper, it says 12 by 12 pattern paper, but it is about almost 1/8 of an inch short of being 12 inches wide. Now, the length, where did I put my ruler? Probably underneath everything. Of course it was. The length is a little short as well. Like a 1/16 of an inch short this way and 1/8 of an inch short this way. Just letting you know that not all the time is your paper the size that it says. Let's check this one just for giggles. Okay, that's 11. And I am sorry I cannot tell you what color this is, because this is some that I got from that mom and pop by 8.5. Yeah. And it might be just a little shy of 8.5. I mean, like a 32nd. But, you know, you need to make sure that you're measuring your paper, at least one piece of it at the beginning, just so you know. Okay, I don't have a full 12 inches, so that's not quite going to work for me on some things. But anyway. Okay, so I am going to get myself started here and see what's going on, and we're going to start a new album. I am so excited. I hope you guys are too. Gather your stuff. Get about 50 sheets of 8.5 by 11. Get you some chipboard. We're probably going to do 2 1/4 maybe inch spine. And so let me see. Since I'm using UK papers, I thought maybe I might do some centimeter kind of things. So I'm going to put this up to 8 inches. So 8 inches is almost 20.5 centimeters. 8 3/4. I'm sorry. 8 3/4 is 22.12. 22.2 centimeters by 7, which is 17 and 5, 6, 7, 8. 17.8 centimeters. And then 2 1/4 is 5.7 centimeters. Okay. I think I'm reading it correctly. If I'm not, I'm sure one of you will let me know. So let's see. This is going to take 22.2, and these are inches, and these are centimeters by, that was 5.7, and 7 was 17.7. Okay. So that is the size of the album. It's not any cut work or anything, but just so you can know if this is something you want to do, which I hope it is. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to enjoy the heck out of ourselves. And I'm going to try and remember to do centimeters when it's something that I'm measuring. I don't do a lot of measuring. I kind of do the pencil method, but we'll go over all that too. All right, guys. Gather your stuff and let's get started. I'll be back. Alrighty. So we are going to start with our pages, and I have done up, this is what it's going to take. There's 4 pieces for your basic layout on for the base page. Excuse me. Words are not coming to me today. Now, if you remember, I'm making the album at 8 3/4 by 7 and, is that 7 1/4? Yes, 7 1/4. And it's going to be a 2 1/4 inch spine. So, and that is 18.4 by 22.2 by 5.7 centimeters. I'm going to try and do centimeters throughout this whole thing this time. See how it's used. Okay, let's see. Base page. Here is our base page. And I have hopefully done it where you can pause this, get it in the center, where you can pause this and get it. I'm working off an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, which is 21.5 by 27.1 centimeters. You're going to score at a 1/2 inch, 7/8 of an inch, 7 1/4, and 7 3/8 inches. And there is a second score line. I just forgot to mark it with my marker so you could actually see. But there is a second score line to the right of this score line. That is 1.3, 2.2, 18.3, and 18.7 centimeters. I think I'm only going to do 4 pages in this, but I'm not positive. So I said need. I'm probably going to wait and see. So you can at least do 4, because I know we'll at least have 4. I might make a 5th one. I might not. I kind of doubt it. Okay, and then let's see. This is for the flap. I'm trying to go with as little waste as possible as well. Let me get this so I am upside down and backwards when I'm looking at my little screen to tell if I've got everything in place, so it's kind of hard. Okay, again, this is the paper in inches and centimeters. It's still 8.5 by 11 or 21.5. All of my papers are going to be like this, except for I've got 12 by 12 papers I'm using for designer papers. But you score at a 1/2 inch and 7/8 of an inch. Yes, a 1/2 inch. Wait a minute. Did I do that? No, I just did. No. Okay. I just did the 1/2 inch. I did change my mind, but then I picked up on that. So we're going to try it this way. Oops. We're going to try it this way. So you're going to score at a 1/2 inch and 7 1/4 inches. And that's 1.2 centimeters and 26.6 centimeters. I hope I'm getting these centimeters right. They're really, really close. You're going to cut at 5.5 inches. So on the 11 side, you're going to measure over 5.5 inches and cut. So it's basically cutting it in half. And that's at 14 centimeters you're going to cut. And this is giving you base flap 1 and base flap 2. Okay, and you're probably going to need 8 total, because both base flaps are used on one base page. Okay, so there's that one. Then to make the tunnel, which is what's going to help us get it into the book, same paper size. So you're going to score at the 1/2 inch and at 9 inches on the 11 inch side, and or it's 1.3 centimeters and 22.8 centimeters. On the 8.5 inch side, you're going to cut, so this way, you're going to cut, measure over 6 1/4 and cut. All right, now you can cut this piece off first if you want to have a nice long piece, because you're going to add a 1/2 inch from your 9 inch score line, add a 1/2 inch and cut it off. So you'll have this little piece. I am figuring out some stuff that I'm going to use with this little piece, because I am looking for a no waste album. All right. And this is going to make the tunnel that we're going to use. And okay, so it's cut at 9.5 inches or 24.1 centimeters. And that again is on the 11 inch side. The only time you turn it this way is to measure over the 6 1/4. And I'm sorry, I did not get my centimeters on that. So let's just do that right now. Centimeters are 15.8 centimeters. 15.8 centimeters and 6¼ inches. And that's on the 8.5. See, it says right here 8.5 side. So that's where you're going to cut. And you're going to cut on the 11 side, which is all of these numbers. Okay, so hopefully all that makes sense to you. I think it does, but you know, that's because I know what I'm doing. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and fold our flaps. And I've got my base page tunnel done. And then we've got these flaps. This is the 1/2 inch. And then I've got a 3/8 inch space so that we can, and make sure this is getting even on the sides. As you are folding these, make sure they are laying nicely all the way up along the side on both sides before you burnish it down. And sometimes the flap will go one way and sometimes the flap will go other, but just go ahead and fold it whichever way you want. Okay, so this is our base page. This is our hinge that's going to go onto our spine. And so we're starting out with one flap. We're going to flip this over this way and we're going to put our tunnel in. Now, we're not actually using this as a tunnel for the binding. I know I said that because that's, you know, just usually what the tunnels are for. But I'm just going to have a big pocket on each one of these so that I can put a nice size booklet, I think. And I'm just checking my measurement to make sure that I am. Now, if you have scored this, and like I've scored this, and this one's perfect, and this is perfect, but this is a little short, take the time to put a little pressure on that and push it back so that you can have a little more space and line this up. So we're going to try this again, lining it up and see if I did it enough. And I did, because now it is perfect on there. Okay, so take the time to check those. So now you're going to need at least 4 of these, and then we'll come, so go ahead and cut them, and then we'll come back and we'll put these together. Okay guys, so let's put, I've saved 2 of these to do. So I've got 2 of my base flaps, 1 of what I called the tunnel, and 1 of the base page. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do our folding on our score line. You want to make sure that the sides line up perfectly. And we can also make sure that we're actually getting it folded over a 1/2 inch, so it's going to keep us from having to really change our, yeah, there we go. I think that's about even. And we might fold these the other direction, we might not. I don't know yet, but I'm going to get it folded in one direction anyway, just so we've got it. So we're just folding it on that first score line. And then to get it on the next score line, you're going to stick your fingernail, or if you don't have a fingernail, use something to stick it into the center of the unfolded score line. And then you're just going to pinch between your index finger and your thumb around where your fingernail is. And that is the easiest way I know of how to get that 1/8 of an inch in there. And I'm not big on laying it down and scoring it. I just like to leave it and let it kind of make its own need for, okay. I didn't say it was easy. It said it was the easiest. My fingernail, I'm not able to find it right at the moment. I'm just having myself a little bit of a, there it is. All right. Just get that where it's going to stand up nice and straight. There we go. Okay. And then I've just folded the first ½ inch. I'm leaving the other one. It will get bent as it's needed as well. Now on both of our flaps, base flap, we're going to cut off just a little bit off of the hinge so that it is all the way up to the score line. You want to get this cut. Where am I? Boop. You want to get this cut all the way up to the score line. Now, a different way of doing it is start out at the score line, get your scissor right on that corner, and trim out. Doesn't really matter how much of an angle. I mean, you don't have to cut, and then you just flip it over this way so that it's, basically upside down. Stick your scissor in there and clip off. Okay? So you need to clip off both of those. And this first one, you're going to close the hinge and you're going to put glue on that closed part. And you want to make sure you're getting it, all the way to the edge, because we don't want that not being glued down. We have our outside score line and our inside score line. We're going to stay away about 1/16 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch away from that score line, from that innermost score line. We're going to, since they're all the same height, we're going to set up our corner, bring it around here to the end, and then push it up. And that should get you to where it is exactly where it needs to be. And then we're just going to burnish and get that glue really stretched out, pushed down, and working for us. I, for one, do not mind having a little bit of glue come out, because that means I know I've got it to the edge. Then open it up and burnish that down as well. Okay. So there's that one. Flip it over. So, and now I'm going to open my flap up because I don't want to be pushing on that. Now we're going to get our tunnel. And we're going to fold that over. And before you really burnish the other end down, let's line it up and see how we're doing. Now remember, once you burnish it down, you do stretch it out a little bit, so it will become longer. This looks even. It just needs to be a titch longer. So I'm just going to kind of force it into the other side of that score mark. Kind of push this flap outwards while you're burnishing, I should say, not scoring. And now we'll see Okay, it works great up here at the top, which is the one with the flap. That is the top of our pocket. That part is going to stay open. I know I call this a tunnel, but it's really going to be making a pocket. And I just need to widen this out a smidge. So I'm gonna go after both ends here, just to give myself a little bit more because, like I said, everything at the top's working great. And now this side's good. I still need a little bit more over here. And I know when you go to fold things, you do have a left and a right side of the score line. So sometimes when you're folding on your score line, maybe on one side you're scoring on the left side of the score line, but then throughout the score you might be rolling over to the right side of the score line, which is sometimes the reason why even though you score, your paper is not straight, because it's still going to do whatever the heck it wants to do, not necessarily what you want. And there we go. Now I just need to flatten that out a little bit better, and we're good to go. So now this one, we're going to just let's get some glue flowing. All right, and don't forget to do your bottom, because we are actually making a pocket. Oops. All right, remember the flap on your base page is the top. You're going to line this up a 1/8 of an inch to a 1/16 of an inch away from the score line. Get the one side lined up perfectly. Line your other side up perfectly. And then you should just go right up the paper. And you should have a little space at the end. I want you to open your flaps up and burnish. I don't want to put any undue flap pressure. Oh, okay. All right. So now there's that. So this is the back of the page, now has this very large pocket. A little bit of glue right there. Get that off of there. Okay. And then here, we're going to take this flap and we're going to flip it where the peak side is down. So it closes this way, but we're opening it up. So this is the mountain side. This is the valley side, and this is the mountain side. We're going to do the inside part, and you don't want to go too close to the score line with your glue, because then, oops, like, don't do that. Yeah, don't get in the score line and don't get anywhere near the score line, because then you're going to have problems with your glue. Okay, so here is the part with the flap. This is your pocket, your big pocket in the back. So we're going to put this inside the pocket and just turn it however it's going to make it easier for you. I'm right-handed, so I've got it upside down and backwards. Get it in there to the score line, just a little bit before the score line. Grab your flap from behind and open it up. And then let's go ahead and burnish. Okay, if there's any excess glue, just kind of get that out of there. Now you can take your flap around, and there it is. There's a flap and a flap. There is a nice pocket. And right now a flap. Okay, and that is your base page. So that's what all of them are going to be like. Now we're going to do it one more time. I am sorry, my necklace keeps clanking. I'm just going to go ahead and get my my score lines folded. My floor lines scolded. That's what I was trying to say. And get your fingernail in there. Boom. Squeeze. 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 Okay. Just kind of get a little push over. And there we go. Now it wants to stay right there. Okay, we can go ahead and do this. Now I'm not going to push this side down real hard. I'm going to, once you kind of get that crease in there, like in there, then you're, oops, I'm going to open my flap up so I know which one's my top and which one's my bottom. This is my bottom with the short flap. I'm going to measure right above the score line. So that's where I want to make sure that everything matches up nicely. That's good. And that's good. So let's just give this a nice burnish. Now, all of a sudden that doesn't look straight to me. Yeah, it just rolled just a little bit right up here at the top. There we go. I do believe now. I do believe that we've got that one fixed up. And yes, we do. Just teeny bit over here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and glue this down. And this is where I've been folding. This was my top and this was my bottom. So I'm going to want to try and keep that because sometimes, you know, they fit better. You get it fitted and then you flip the paper over and then you wonder why it's all of a sudden not fitted anymore. Because, you know, something's off somewhere a little bit, which with handmade items, even though you measure once, measure 2-3 times and then cut, you're still gonna make boo-boos. We all do. It's no big deal. So this is my top with the long flap. I'm gonna take my bottom where I have the glue going across and I'm going to line up right above my score line. And then the paper should fall right into place. A little bit of globby glue there. Okay. Whoops. All right. So now there are our 4 base pages. Oh, and I've got my flaps to do. I'm sorry. Okay. Now flaps, we're going to cut the corners. And again, you don't have to cut much. Okay, and now I'm going to, here's the top of my flap and then my pocket. So this one is going to slide into the pocket. So I'm going to open it up so that I have the inside of the flap that we made. And I'm going to get some glue in there. Don't go all the way down to the score line on this, because then it'll pop out. So here's our pocket on our back page, and I'm just going to slide this in. Just going to slide this in. There we go. Right up to the score line, but not into the score line. And make the fold and make sure that your paper is lining up. Pull your flap from the back and score. And when you're scoring, you're not getting your score tool on your flaps, on these 2 score marks on the flap. You're just burnishing down the flap that we're putting in. And get a little extra glue out of there. And there we go. Get all these little pieces and parts. Okay, so now nope, we still got one more. Boy, I am just in a hurry to get these finished, aren't I? Okay. Oh my goodness, it's time I go feed my animals. They're probably very hungry. Okay, so we're going to get this last flap on here. Now this one, we are on, here's the flap. We're closing the flap and putting the glue on that side. So one of them we put it on the inside and one of them we put it on the outside. So hopefully that will not get too confusing. And we're going to stay just away a 1/16 of an inch or so. Going to line up our paper on this end, and then it should just go right up just where it's supposed to be and be perfect. Be perfect. Perfect, 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 perfect. Okay, a little bit of burnish. Open it up. Burnish here. Now, we are done with our 4 pages. Yay! So these are going to be nice. Now, they can be flipped. We can put like one like this, flip this, and then put this, flip, and have this, and then have, you know, however you want it. Then you could do this. No, it would be here. And then we'll do this, flip. We've got this, we've got this, and we got this. However you want it. However you want to do that. It's just not that big of a deal. But we'll go, as we go through our papers and look, we'll figure out, I'll figure out how I want to do it, and then you can figure out if you want to do it the same or whatever. So I will be back in just a minute. Let's do a little housekeeping. Let's make sure we have all of our little pieces of paper and everything pulled up, that we've got all our score tape where we need it. We've got just all these little teeny pieces of paper that I've got sitting everywhere. All cleaned up and in the garbage. All right, guys. Okay, and I'm going to put my pin in my glue because I have to go feed my puppies before I come back to you. So I will talk to you guys all later. Bye for now. Thumbs up to me. Thumbs up to you. Have fun. Let's get this done. So make your 4 pages and then come back to me. All right, guys. Bye.